My world shattered in a single moment, the sting of betrayal slicing deeper than any knife. At our Star Island mansion, amid the clinking champagne glasses of a charity gala, my best friend Thane Quill pulled me aside, his trembling hands thrusting a phone into mine. The video played my wife Leora locked in a passionate embrace with Gideon Strath, her best friend's fiancé, their laughter mocking 12 years of trust. Worse, Thane's whisper revealed Gideon's secret love with Rune Calder, a plot to steal millions. My chest burned not with rage, but with the cold realization that Leora's emerald gown charm was a lie endangering our sons Miles and Theo. As her laughter echoed from the ballroom, I stood frozen. The man I was devoted, husband-proud father fractured. But in that rupture, a resolve was born. I'd protect my boys, dismantle her deceit, and reclaim my life. This wasn't just a marriage's end. It was the start of a fight for justice, one I'd win at any cost. Before we dive into today's story, let us know where you're watching from. And as you watch, don't just sit back, be part of the experience. If a moment grabs your attention, whether it's powerful, unexpected, or deeply moving, drop a comment with the timestamp of that scene and share your thoughts. Your reactions bring the story to life, and we love seeing which moments resonate with you the most. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new story. Now grab a coffee or tea, settle in, and let's begin. The humid Miami night wrapped around our Star Island mansion. Like a velvet curtain, the air thick with the promise of April 2025. Inside, chandeliers spilled golden light across a charity gala where senators, CEOs, and socialites mingled in a dance of power and privilege. I, James Carter, 42, a private equity magnate who'd clawed my way from a modest Chicago upbringing to this pinnacle of wealth, moved through the crowd with practiced ease. My tailored suit felt like armor, shielding the pride swelling in my chest for the life I'd built. My wife, Leora, Vane, 38, glided across the marble floor in an emerald gown, her laughter a melody that had once set my heart racing. Now it rang hollow, practiced like a performance I hadn't noticed until tonight. Upstairs, our sons Miles, chapter 10, and Theo, 8, slept soundly, their rooms filled with science fair trophies and soccer balls, oblivious to the world of deals and egos below. I shook hands with a senator, brokered a quick deal with a tech mogul, and sipped champagne, the ocean's hum through open windows, a soothing backdrop to my success. This was my empire stable, prosperous, rooted in love for my boys and the woman I thought I knew. As I nodded to a board member's toast, my best friend since college, Thane Quill caught my eye from across the room. His face was pale, his usually steady hands trembling as he motioned me toward a private balcony overlooking Biscayne Bay. My stomach tightened. Thane, the guy who'd stood by me through every deal and downturn, looked like he'd seen a ghost. "James, you need to see this," he said, his voice cracking, barely audible over the gala's chatter. He thrust his phone into my hands, and I felt the world tilt. The video played grainy but unmistakable from Isolda Marrow's bachelorette party at a South Beach penthouse, neon lights casting harsh shadows. There was Leora, my wife of 12 years, pressed against Gideon Strath, Isolda's fiancé, in a passionate embrace, her laughter sharp and carefree, slicing through me like a blade. My hair stood on end, my pulse hammering as Thane's whisper hit harder, Gideon's gay with Rune Calder, his gallery partner. They're using Isolda's $50 million trust fund." The words landed like a punch, my grip tightening on the balcony railing until my knuckles whitened. Leora's betrayal wasn't just a knife in my back, it threatened our son's future, our standing among Miami's elite, everything I'd poured my life into building. I forced my breath to steady the ocean's hum now, a roar in my ears, drowning out the gala's clinking glasses. Leora's emerald gown flashed in my mind, her touch on a senator's arm, her smile as she played the perfect hostess every moment a lie. Thane's red-rimmed eyes locked on mine, his hands clutching my arm. "It'll turn your life upside down." He choked his vulnerability, mirroring the fracture in my heart. I saw Miles's latest science project, Theo's soccer ball tucked under his bed, their innocent faces trusting a world I'd sworn to protect. My chest burned not with tears, but with a cold, calculating resolve, the kind I'd honed closing billion-dollar deals. This wasn't just a marriage crumbling, it was a war I'd wage with precision. I'd shield my boys from Leora's deceit, unravel Gideon's scheme, and make them pay for thinking they could break me. Back in the ballroom, Leora's laughter cut through the crowd, sharp and deliberate, as she charmed a senator, oblivious to the storm brewing in my gaze. Guests murmured praises, the perfect hostess they called her, their words acid on the raw wound of her betrayal. Her emerald gown shimmered a beacon of deceit. And for a moment I saw the woman I'd loved, the one who'd laughed with me over late-night coffee, who'd held Miles and Theo as newborns. But that woman was gone, replaced by a stranger who'd gambled our family for a fling. I forced a smile, shaking hands with a CEO, my mind racing through next steps like a chessboard. Gideon's secret with Rune Isolda's trust fund. Leora's affair, they formed a web I'd dismantle, thread by thread. Thane's voice echoed in my head. I can't lose Isolda, mirroring my own fear of losing the life I'd built for my sons. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Thane's text. "What now?" I typed back, fingers steady. We dig deeper. Leora's glance met mine across the room, her smile faltering for a split second, a crack in her perfect mask. She thought I was blind, too busy with deals to see her lies. She'd underestimated me, but I saw her now, her greed, her betrayal, her arrogance. As the gala swirled around me, I stood taller, no longer the devoted husband, but a survivor, my sons' faces, my North Star. This wasn't the end of my story. It was the beginning of their reckoning, and I'd make sure they felt every consequence. The morning after the gala, I sat in my Star Island home office, the Biscayne Bay sunrise painting the walls gold through floor-to-ceiling windows. My sons Miles and Theo were at school, their backpacks filled with science books and soccer cleats, unaware that their mother's betrayal had fractured our world. Leora Vane, my wife of 12 years, still slept in our bedroom, her jasmine perfume lingering like a ghost of the woman I'd trusted. My hands, steady despite the rage coiling in my gut, hovered over her iPad, its sleek surface a vault of secrets. I'd seen her type her password enough times to guess it, but when Gideon unlocked the screen, the word hit like a fist, confirming her affair with Gideon Strath. A Signal app buried in a folder labeled "Work Opened" to a chat named Velvet Syndicate, its members Leora, Gideon, Rune Calder, and Isolda Marrow plotting with coded arrogance. My breath caught as I scrolled Leora's messages, slicing deeper than the video Thane Quill had shown me last night. James is too tied to his deals to notice she wrote bragging about spicing things up with Gideon. Then the real blow bank transfer confirmations showing she'd siphoned $500,000 from our joint accounts to Gideon's art gallery. My thumb froze the screen's glow, burning my eyes. She wasn't just cheating. She was stealing from our son's future, funding a scam tied to Isolda's $50 million trust fund. Messages hinted at Gideon and Rune's secret relationship, their plan to secure Isolda's wealth through marriage, a cold, calculated play. I screenshot every word, my pulse hammering, not with grief, but with a resolve sharper than any deal I'd closed. Leora thought me blind, but I'd turn her secrets into weapons to protect Miles and Theo. I leaned back in my leather chair, the framed photos of my boys on my desk grounding me. Miles's gap-toothed grin from his science fair win, Theo's muddy knees after a soccer game. They deserved a future free of their mother's greed. My mind raced, mapping next steps like a private equity strategy. I needed evidence, allies, a plan to unravel this web. Leora's perfume clung to the air, a mockery of the late-night talks we'd shared in this room. Her laughter once a comfort, now a lie. The iPad's chat logs painted a stranger, a woman who mocked my trust, who gambled our family for thrills and money. I saved the screenshots to a secure cloud, my fingers steady, knowing each word was a brick in the case I'd build. The sunrise faded, Miami's skyline, sharpening outside, a reminder of the empire I'd fought for. Leora's betrayal wasn't just personal. It was a financial assault on everything I'd built for my sons. I'd make her pay, not with screams, but with the precision of a man who'd never lost a deal. By noon, I met Thane Quill at a minimalist cafe in Miami's design district, its sleek tables and clinking espresso cups buzzing with influencers snapping photos. The noise cloaked our whispers, a shield against the elite's prying eyes. Thane's face was haggard, his red-rimmed eyes betraying a night of torment since showing me the video at the gala. "I can't let them ruin us," he said, gripping his coffee, his voice raw. He introduced Vesper Kane, a hacker, whose neon blue hair stood out like a warning sign against the cafe's neutral tones. Her laptop, bristling with encrypted drives, hummed as she played an audio clip from Isolda's bachelorette party, captured by her dark web contacts. Leora's voice mocked me. James is too tied to spreadsheets, while Gideon and Rune's laughter dripped with smug intimacy, their words confirming their relationship. My jaw clenched, the memory of Leora's emerald gown flashing her laughter at the gala, now a cruel echo. Vesper's screen flashed bank records tying Leora's $500,000 to Gideon's gallery, a money laundering front for their scam. Then came the gut punch. Gideon and Rune planned to flee to Dubai after Isolda's wedding, framing Leora for their fraud to escape with the trust fund. A text alert on Vesper's phone, quickly dismissed, hinted at real-time tracking of Gideon's burner phone. "They're predators," I said, my voice low, meeting Thane's desperate gaze. My sons' faces, Miles's curious eyes, Theo's shy smile flashed in my mind, their future at stake. Vesper's cool. I can get more, sealed her as my ally. Her edge, a match for my strategy. I sipped my coffee, the cafe's chatter fading as my mind mapped the battlefield. Thane's plea, "We can't let them ruin us," mirrored my own fear. But fear had no place in deals or wars. Leora's chats, Vesper's audio, the bank records, they were ammunition, each piece locking into a plan to dismantle the syndicate. Gideon's smugness, Rune's complicity, Leora's greed. They'd underestimated me, thinking I'd crumble like a scorned husband. But I was a father first, a strategist second, and their lies would be their undoing. The design district's polished facades outside the cafe window reminded me of Miami's elite, where trust was a currency I'd no longer spend lightly. My phone buzzed a reminder of Miles's science fair project due tomorrow, grounding me in what mattered. I'd protect my boy's world not just from Leora's affair, but from the financial abyss she'd opened. Vesper's laptop snapped shut, her neon hair catching the light as she said, "Give me a day." I nodded my resolve, ironclad. Thane's hand shook as he drained his coffee, but I felt steady the rage of last night, now a cold, focused fire. Leora was still at home, maybe planning her next lie, but I saw her clearly now, a traitor who'd pay for every dollar, every laugh, every moment she thought she'd outsmarted me. This wasn't just about saving my empire. It was about building a future for Miles and Theo, one where justice, not betrayal, defined their legacy. The ocean breeze swept across our Star Island mansion's terrace, where Leora Vane stood in yoga pants, sipping coffee, her jasmine perfume a bitter echo of the gala 2 days ago. It was April 2025, and my sons Miles and Theo were at school, their laughter from breakfast still ringing in my ears, oblivious to the storm brewing. My pulse hammered as I held my phone. Thane Quill's video paused on Leora's face, laughing in Gideon Strath's arms at Isolda Marrow's bachelorette party. The Velvet Syndicate chats I'd uncovered yesterday. Leora's $500,000 theft. Her mockery of my trust burned in my mind, but seeing her now, casual and composed, ignited a rage I barely contained. "Explain," I said, my voice steady despite the storm in my chest hitting play. Her eyes widened, coffee mug trembling, but her charm kicked in like a reflex. Tears welled her voice soft, a performance honed over 12 years. "It was just fun, James, to spice things up." "You've been so distant," she said, stepping closer, hand grazing my arm. Then the blow. "I'm pregnant and it's yours." The words landed like a grenade. Her pause, too, rehearsed, her trembling fingers betraying the lie. Doubt clawed at me. Gideon's shadow loomed, the chats hinting at her reckless thrill-seeking. I saw Miles's science fair trophy, Theo's soccer ball, their futures at stake. "We'll talk later," I said, turning away, my mind racing. Leora thought tears could sway me, but I'd test her lies medically, financially, and shield my boys from her greed. Her perfect wife act was a house of cards, and I'd tear it down. I drove to my office, the Miami skyline blurring past my grip tight on the steering wheel. Leora's pregnancy claim gnawed at me, a manipulative play to keep me tethered. The iPad screenshots saved to a secure cloud proved her $500,000 theft for Gideon's gallery tied to Isolda's trust fund scam with Rune Calder. Vesper Kane's audio from the bachelorette party. Leora's James is too tied to spreadsheets, mockery played in my head, fueling my resolve. I'd protect my empire, my sons with the precision of a deal-maker. My phone buzzed, a text from Thane. "Any news?" I replied. "Need tests." Leora's jasmine scent clung to my memory, a cruel reminder of late-night talks now tainted. She wasn't the woman who'd cheered Miles's first steps or Theo's first goal. She was a stranger who'd gambled our family for power and pleasure. I'd unravel her lies, starting with her health, ensuring no threat touched my boys. At a discreet Coral Gables clinic, I sat beside Leora, her face pale under fluorescent lights, her hands clasped too tightly. Dr. Elena Voss, a trusted physician for Miami's elite, delivered the results with practiced calm. "Chlamydia treatable with antibiotics," she said, her eyes flickering to Leora's shock. My gut twisted not at the diagnosis, but at the violation. Leora's betrayal had scarred my body, endangering my health. Then the second blow. No pregnancy. Leora's gasp was convincing her. How trembling. but her fingers twitched the same tell from the terrace. I flashed back to my home office last night. Vespers hacked clinic records on my phone, revealing Lyora's visits with Gideon, their timestamps overlapping. He'd likely infected her, their recklessness a physical mirror of their financial scam. "We've been monogamous," Lyora insisted, her voice pitching higher, but I watched her performance with detachment, the framed photo of Miles and Theo on my desk, grounding me. "We'll treat it," I said, voice flat, already planning my next move. Vesper's warning. "Hacking's not clean," echoed, but truth was my weapon. Lyora's lie, pregnancy, monogamy crumbled her betrayal now, a health crisis threatening my son's stability. I'd build a case brick by brick to bury her and Gideon. As we left the clinic, Lyora's silence in the car was heavy, her gaze fixed out the window. I drove my mind on Miles's science fair project due tomorrow. Theo's soccer game this weekend, normalcy I'd fight to preserve. The clinic's sterile air clung to me, a reminder of Lyora's recklessness, but my resolve was ironclad. Vesper's email hit my phone, subject gallery deep dive. I pulled into my office garage, the Miami heat pressing in, and opened it. Her Wynwood tech loft, where I'd meet her tonight, was a world away from Star Island's polish, its coffee and solder scent grounding the digital war we waged. Vesper's laptop had revealed Gideon and Rune's money laundering, forged art sales, funneling Lyora's $500,000 affront for their trust fund scam. The bombshell was Isolda's signatures on fraudulent gallery documents, her shaky handwriting a sign of coercion, risking her $50 million trust fund. I muttered, "She's just a kid." Empathy softening my rage for the 24-year-old caught in their web. Then Vesper's final find, a burner phone in Gideon's office, its texts planning to blackmail me with fabricated affair photos if I exposed them. Lyora's ignored text to Isolda, Gideon's acting weird, sat unanswered, proof of her isolation. My jaw clenched. They weren't just thieves. They were predators. Lyora, their willing pawn. I parked the garage's dim lights casting shadows, my mind mapping the battlefield. Vesper's loft meeting loomed, her "we can sting them" from the email a rallying cry. I'd ally with Isolda, turn their blackmail against them, and protect my empire for Miles and Theo. The skyline outside my office window gleamed, Miami's elite world, where trust was a currency I'd no longer spend. Lyora's terrace performance, her clinic lie, her chats. They were evidence, each piece locking into a strategy. Gideon's smugness, Rune's complicity, Lyora's greed. They'd underestimated me, thinking I'd fold like a scorned husband. But I was a father first, a deal-maker second, and their lies would be their undoing. My phone buzzed, Miles's school reminding me of his project pickup. I smiled, grounding myself in what mattered. Tonight, Vesper's loft would arm me with more truth, but for now, I'd be the dad my boys needed, their world intact despite Lyora's chaos. She'd pay for every lie, every dollar, every moment she thought she'd outsmarted me, and I'd ensure justice defined our legacy, not her betrayal. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden haze over Key Biscayne as I boarded Isolde Marrow's family yacht, its LED lights bathing the mahogany deck in a surreal glow. It was April 2025, and the gentle rocking of the vessel mirrored the unsteady beat of my heart, 3 days after Lyora Vane's betrayal shattered my world. My sons Miles and Theo were at a sleepover, their laughter from this morning's breakfast, a lifeline I clung to. I faced Isolda 24, her pale face etched with shock, as I played Thane Quill's video of Lyora with her fiancé Gideon Strath at the South Beach bachelorette party. Vesper Kane's hacked files followed, exposing Gideon's secret relationship with Rune Calder and their plan to siphon her $50 million trust fund through fraudulent gallery deals. Isolda's breath hitched, tears spilling as she clutched the railing. Her voice a whisper. How could I be so blind? I showed her the forged documents, her shaky signatures, a testament to coercion, risking her family's legacy. Then the bombshell. Leora introduced me to Gideon 2 years ago. She choked, her eyes hardening. She set me up. My jaw clenched. Leora's betrayal wasn't just against me. She'd orchestrated Isolda's engagement to secure the syndicate's gain. The ocean's hum pulsed in my ears, a reminder of the stakes, Miles's science fair dreams, Theo's soccer goals, my empire. Vesper's discreet cameras disguised as cufflinks lay on the table, glinting like weapons. We can sting them at Art Basel, I said, my voice steady, despite the fury coiling inside. Isolda nodded, her resolve mirroring mine. Let's take them down, she said. We'd turn their greed against them, saving her future and mine for my boys. The yacht's lights flickered, sealing our pact in the Miami night. The next evening, South Beach's Art Basel gala pulsed with neon art and elite energy, a glittering facade masking Gideon's fraud. I slipped through the crowd in a tailored suit, posing as a Russian buyer, Vesper's cufflink cameras recording every move. Leora glided past in a silver gown, her laugh a cruel echo of the gala, where this nightmare began, her hand brushing runes in a too familiar dance. My earpiece crackled as Vesper, parked in a Winwood control van, captured their words. Rune's voice was smug. The oligarchs wired $10 million for the gallery, Dubai's next. Leora's giggle cut through me like glass. Once I divorce James, I'll take half his empire. My pulse raced, the neon art blurring, as two truths hit Gideon, and Rune planned to sell the gallery to a Russian oligarch tonight, fleeing to Dubai, and Leora aimed to steal my wealth post-sale, her greed laid bare. Gideon joined them, his "We're untouchable," echoing the bachelorette party audio Vesper had played days ago. My chest tightened, memories of Miles's gap-toothed grin and Theo's shy smile grounding me. Vesper's voice hissed through the earpiece. Got it all, FBI's on standby. I stayed calm, slipping past champagne flutes and art collectors, Leora's silver gown shimmering like a target. She'd walked into my trap, and I'd make sure she fell hard, her lies no match for the evidence piling against her. I left the gala, the Miami heat pressing in as I drove to my office, the skyline's gleam a stark contrast to the chaos in my mind. Leora's divorce plan, overheard at Art Basel, was a dagger, but the oligarch sale pushed the stakes higher. Gideon and Rune were moving faster than I'd anticipated. My phone buzzed, a text from Thane. You okay? I replied, plans in motion. The memory of Leora's terrace lie just fun, her fake pregnancy burned alongside her $500,000 theft and chlamydia gift. My boys deserved better than her greed. The next morning, I met Soren Vale, my banker, in the glass-walled office of a Brickell private bank, Miami's skyline sprawling below like a chessboard I'd mastered. Soren's firm handshake steadied me as he confirmed I'd transferred $200 million, 95% of our liquid assets, into a trust for Miles and Theo, untouchable by Leora. Then his voice lowered. She tried accessing the accounts this morning. I blocked her. My breath caught her desperation clearer now. He slid a document across the desk, Leora's signature forged on my company's board papers, risking my private equity empire's control. The skyline mocked her audacity, but my chest tightened. She wasn't just a cheater. She was a predator aiming to gut my legacy. Vesper's hacked bank records, sent via encrypted text, confirmed the forgeries were recent. Her plan to seize my firm, a final betrayal. File it with my lawyer. I told Soren, my divorce attorney, already prepping fault-based papers. The trust was my shield, my son's future secure. Leora thought she could outsmart me, but I'd stripped her power, my empire standing firm. Back at my office, I leaned back, the framed photos of Miles and Theo grounding me. Miles's science fair project. Theo's soccer game this weekend. They were why I fought, not for revenge, but for justice. Leora's silver gown at Art Basel, her giggle with Rune, her forged signatures. They were evidence, each piece locking into a strategy honed over years of deals. Vesper's FBI's on standby echoed her cufflink cameras a masterstroke. Isolda's tearful resolve on the yacht. Her Leora set me up, fueled my fire. She was a kid caught in their web like my boys would be if I failed. Thane's haggard face at the cafe, his plea to save us, mirrored my own stakes. The Miami skyline outside my window gleamed a world where trust was currency I'd no longer spend. Leora's lies, terrace tears, clinic performance forged documents were unraveling her greed, no match for my precision. My phone buzzed, a reminder of Theo's game, pulling me back to what mattered. Tomorrow, the Art Basel evidence would reach the FBI, but tonight I'd cheer Theo's goals, be the dad my boys needed. Leora Gideon, Rune, they'd underestimated me, thinking I'd crumble. I was a father first, a strategist second, and their web would collapse under the weight of their own deceit, my son's future, my unbreakable anchor. The Star Island Mansion's ballroom glittered under chandeliers, a mirror of the charity gala 5 days ago, where my world fractured. But tonight, in April 2025, it was my battlefield. Miami's elite senators, CEOs, socialites sipped champagne, their murmurs a backdrop to the storm I'd unleash. Leora Vane, my wife of 12 years, glided through the crowd in a sapphire gown, her laughter as sharp and practiced as ever, oblivious to the process server I'd hired. My heart pounded, but my face was stone-honed by years of closing billion-dollar deals. Miles and Theo, my sons, were safe at a friend's house, their soccer balls and science kits untouched by the chaos I'd end tonight. I stood near the bar, watching Leora charm a tech mogul, her poise a lie that had cost me trust health and nearly my empire. The Velvet Syndicate chats, Vesper Kane's hacked records, and Art Basel's damning footage, Leora's $500,000 theft, her fake pregnancy, her chlamydia, her forged board documents were locked in my arsenal. Thane Quill's text buzzed my phone. "Ready," I replied. "Now." The server approached, his voice cutting through the gala's hum. Leora Vane. Her smile froze, sapphire gown shimmering, as she took the divorce papers citing infidelity and fraud. Whispers rippled eyes darting to me. I stepped forward, phone raised, playing Thane's bachelorette party video for my allies, senators, CEOs, and key socialites. Leora's laughter with Gideon Strath filled the room, gasps erupting as X notifications buzzed. Star Island scandal, trending locally. Her heels clicked as she fled, gown trailing like a fallen star, her social empire crumbling. A guest's murmur, "She had it coming," echoed my allies' nods. Satisfaction surged, tempered by a pang for Miles and Theo. This wasn't revenge. It was justice for my family, a line drawn to protect their future. I left the gala, the Miami heat heavy, as I drove to a downtown FBI field office. The skyline's gleam, a stark contrast to the war I'd waged. Hours earlier, South Beach's neon-lit gallery had hosted Gideon Strath's private sale to a Russian oligarch, the final act of his fraud. I sat with Agent Zara Holt, her crisp nod signaling our plan's execution. Vesper's hacked live feed played on my laptop, her cufflink cameras from Art Basel capturing Gideon's "We're untouchable" boast, and Rune Calder's oligarch deal, their smug laughter a mirror of Leora's betrayal. My pulse raced as Zara reviewed the footage, her go unleashing chaos. On the screen, FBI agents stormed the gallery, red and blue lights flashing through shattered glass doors. Gideon's cry, "How did they know?" pierced the feed as handcuffs clicked, Rune's smug facade crumbling beside him. Whispers of their relationship hit X, exposing their secret to Miami's elite, their trust fund scam and money laundering laid bare. Vesper's voice crackled through my earpiece. Got every frame. Her neon blue hair glowed in my memory, her tech loft a crucible for this victory. Zara's "They're done" rang true. The oligarch fleeing, leaving Gideon and Rune to face fraud charges. I leaned back, the office's stark walls grounding me. For Isolda Marrow's trust fund for my son's legacy, I'd stripped their power just as they'd tried to strip mine. The memory of Miles's gap-toothed grin, Theo's shy smile steadied me. This was for them, a future free of predators. The next evening, I stood in a faded Miami Beach hotel suite, its peeling wallpaper and dim lights a world away from our Star Island mansion. Leora sat before me, her disheveled hair and tear-streaked face a shadow of the gala's polish, her sapphire gown replaced by a wrinkled sweater. "James, please," she begged. Voice cracking, "Drop the fraud charges. I'll leave disappear." She sank to her knees, clutching my hand, her desperation a stark fall from the woman who'd mocked me in Velvet Syndicate chats. I stood unyielding, my mind flashing to yesterday's conversation with Miles and Theo, 10 and 8, at our kitchen table. I'd explained Leora's betrayal gently, her affair, her lies, watching Miles's quiet. Why Dad break my heart? Theo clutching his soccer ball like a shield. Their hugs, their trust in me were ironclad, my lawyer securing full custody that morning. "You gave me chlamydia, stole $500,000, planned to take my empire," I said, voice cold, pulling my hand free. Leora's eyes widened. She hadn't known I'd uncovered her forged board documents, her attempt to seize my firm. "You made your choice," I said, turning to leave, her sob echoing in the suite's gloom. The memory of Leora's terrace lie her clinic performance, her Art Basel giggle with Rune. They were ashes now, her ruin complete. I stepped into the Miami night, the ocean's hum distant, my son's future secure. This wasn't about her anymore. It was about building a life for Miles and Theo free of her lies. Driving home, the skyline glowed, Miami's elite world a chessboard I'd mastered. Leora's social collapse on X, Gideon and Rune's arrests. Isolda's trust fund saved, they were victories earned through precision, not rage. Vesper's hacked records. Soren Vale's trust protection, Thane's desperate plea at the cafe they'd armed me for this reckoning. Leora's forged signatures, her 200 million grab, her chlamydia. They'd cost her everything, her prison-bound fate looming. I saw Miles's science fair trophy, Theo's soccer ball, their faces trusting a future I'd fought for. My phone buzzed, a reminder of Theo's game tomorrow, grounding me in what mattered. The FBI raid's flashing lights, Zara's nod, Vesper's every frame they replayed in my mind, a testament to my strategy. Isolda's tearful Leora set me up on the yacht. Thane's red-rimmed eyes, my son's hugs, they fueled me not for revenge, but for justice. Leora's sob lingered, a faint pang of pity drowned by resolve. She'd gambled our family thinking I'd crumble, but I was a father first, a deal-maker second. The Miami night stretched before me, a city of facades I'd seen through. Tomorrow I'd cheer Theo's goals, help Miles with his project. But tonight, I stood taller, my empire intact, my son's legacy, my North Star. Leora, Gideon, Rune. They'd pay their lies no match for the truth I'd wielded. The Miami Beach ballroom glowed with soft, light chandeliers, casting a warm haze over elegant tables, a stark contrast to the Star Island mansion's chaos 6 days ago, where Leora Vane's betrayal unraveled my world. It was April 2025, and tonight, Isolda Marrow 24 stood at a podium hosting a charity event to reclaim her place among Miami's elite. My sons Miles and Theo sat beside me, their proud smiles a beacon through the scars of Leora's lies, her affair with Gideon Strath, her $500,000 theft, her chlamydia, her forged documents. Isolda's voice trembled as she addressed the crowd, her eyes meeting mine with gratitude. James Carter showed me the truth, she said, and saved my $50 million trust fund from a scam. The crowd murmured their applause, swelling as she revealed a hidden clause in her trust activated by Gideon's arrest, granting her full control and cutting off his family's claims forever. Her bold signature projected on a screen gleamed like a badge of strength, a mirror of my own fight. Posts praising her resilience trended locally, the ballroom's hopeful glow washing away the syndicate's shadow. Miles 10 squeezed my hand, his science fair trophy fresh in my mind. Theo 8 whispered, "She's cool, Dad," his soccer ball at home, a reminder of normalcy I'd fought for. Isolda's redemption echoed my own path, exposing Leora Gideon, and Rune Calder had saved us both. But Leora's final reckoning loomed, and I sat steady, ready to close her chapter for good, my son's future, my anchor. I leaned back, the ballroom's soft chatter, a balm after the Art Basel sting, the FBI raid, and Leora's desperate plea. Thane Quill's text buzzed my phone. Isolda's killing it. I smiled, our friendship a steady thread through this war. The memory of Leora's sapphire gown frozen as she fled the gala stung less now her social ruin was complete. Star Island scandal still trending on X. Gideon and Rune's arrests, their relationship exposed, had shattered their untouchable facade, their decade-long sentences looming. Isolda's trust clause was a masterstroke, her speech a testament to survival like mine. I saw Miles's gap-toothed grin, Theo's shy smile, their trust in me ironclad after I'd explained Leora's betrayal, their hugs healing the wound of her "why, Dad?" question. The ballroom's crystal light danced a new dawn for Isolda for me. But Leora's lies, her terrace tears clinic performance forged board documents, still demanded a final judgment. My attorney's email confirming tomorrow's divorce hearing sat in my inbox. I'd built a case with Vesper Kane's hacks, Soren Vale's trust protection, and the FBI's evidence ensuring Leora's greed would bury her. For Miles and Theo, I'd fought not for revenge, but for justice. Their future. My North Star. The next morning I walked into a Miami courthouse, its marble floors echoing my steps, the air heavy with the weight of justice. Leora stood at the defendant's table, her once polished look faded. No sapphire gown, just a plain blouse, her eyes glaring defiantly. Her lawyer claimed I'd fabricated evidence. Vesper's hacked records, the Art Basel footage, all lies to ruin her. My pulse stayed steady, years of deal-making steeling me for this moment. Vesper took the stand, her neon blue hair stark under fluorescent lights, her voice calm as she detailed Leora's $500,000 theft to Gideon's gallery, backed by bank records projected on a courtroom screen. The forged signatures on my company's board documents aimed at seizing my private equity empire flashed in bold Leora's handwriting, undeniable. The judge's frown deepened, her gavel poised. Leora's glare faltered, panic breaking through, as Vesper cited encrypted texts tying her to the Velvet Syndicate scam. She planned to gut James Carter's firm, Vesper, said her nod to me a silent victory. The judge's ruling hit like a hammer. Embezzlement charges 3 years in prison. Leora's whisper. You planned this was hollow, her eyes wide with defeat. You planned your own fall, I replied, my voice cold, meeting her gaze. The courtroom's austerity amplified her ruin, my son's future, secure beyond her reach. I saw Miles's science fair trophy, Theo's soccer ball, their trust in me unshaken. Leora's lies, terrace tears, clinic gasps. Art Basel giggles were dust now, her empire gone. I stepped outside, the Miami sun blazing the skyline, a testament to the empire I'd protected. Vesper's testimony, Soren's trust, the FBI raids flashing lights. They'd armed me to dismantle Leora's deceit. Thane's cafe plea, Isolda's yacht tears my son's hugs. They'd fueled me not for vengeance, but for survival. Leora's sob in the hotel suite lingered, a faint pang of pity drowned by the clarity of justice. She'd gambled our family thinking I'd crumble, but I was a father first, a strategist second. The courthouse's marble echoed behind me, a final note in her downfall. My phone buzzed, a reminder of Theo's soccer practice, grounding me in what mattered. Tomorrow I'd cheer his goals, help Miles with homework. But today I stood taller, my empire intact. Leora's prison sentence, Gideon and Rune's decade behind bars, Isolda's thriving charity, they were proof of consequences, not cruelty. The Miami air felt lighter, the ocean's hum distant, my son's faces, my guide. I'd seen through Miami's facades, built a legacy for Miles and Theo, and walked away free, ready to forge a future where trust was earned, not betrayed. The crisp aspen air stung my lungs as I stood outside our new home, snowflakes dusting the Rockies' peaks in April 2025, a world away from Miami's humid betrayal. Miles and Theo, my sons, laughed as loyal, our Bernese mountain dog bounded through the snow, his bark echoing their joy. At 42, I'd rebuilt our lives after Leora Vane's lies, her affair with Gideon Strath, her $500,000 theft, her chlamydia, her forged documents, her 3-year prison sentence for embezzlement. My global private equity role, secured after dismantling her Velvet Syndicate scam, doubled our wealth. My new office's mountain view, a testament to power, earned not stolen. Miles, Chapter 10, aced his school's science fair, his gap-toothed grin brighter than Miami's skyline. Theo 8 scored his first soccer goal, shouting, "I'm glad we're here, Dad," his shy smile, healing scars from Leora's. Why, Dad? Question. Their trust, forged through honest talks about her betrayal, was my anchor. Gideon and Rune Calder, their relationship exposed on X, faced a decade in prison for fraud, their untouchable boasts silenced. Isolda Marrow's thank you note arrived last week, her 50 million trust fund thriving her charity, a beacon of renewal. Thane Quill visited our friendship stronger after surviving the syndicate's web. A deleted X notification from Leora's prison account. Her apology unread flickered on my phone, irrelevant now. I wasn't a victim or villain, but a survivor, my son's future, my true empire. I sipped coffee on the porch, Loyal nuzzling my hand, the mountains quiet, a balm after Miami's chaos. The Star Island mansion with its chandeliers and Leora's sapphire gown felt like a distant dream, its Star Island scandal trend, a fading echo. Vesper Kane's neon blue hair, her got-every frame at the FBI raid, Soren Vale's firm handshake, securing my 200 million trust. They'd armed me to protect Miles and Theo. Isolda's bold trust clause signature. Thane's red-rimmed eyes at the cafe, my son's hugs after Leora's plea. They'd fueled me not for revenge, but for justice. Leora's forged board documents, her attempt to seize my firm, her chlamydia. They'd cost her everything, her prison cell a consequence of greed. I saw Miles's science fair trophy, Theo's soccer ball, their faces trusting a future I'd fought for. My phone buzzed, a reminder of Theo's practice grounding me in what mattered. Aspen's snowy streets lined with cozy shops replaced Miami's elite facades, trust now earned, not assumed. I'd dismantled Leora's lies, Gideon's scam, Rune's arrogance, building a legacy where my sons could thrive free of betrayal's shadow. Inside the house smelled of pancakes, Miles's laughter mixing with Theo's as they wrestled loyal. I smiled the warmth of our new life, a stark contrast to Leora's faded hotel suite, her sob a memory drowned by my son's joy. My office with its mountain view held files for new deals, my empire growing beyond Miami's reach. Isolda's note, pinned to a board, thanked me for saving her trust fund, her charity's success a mirror of my own renewal. Thane's visit last week. His stories of rebuilding with Isolda echoed my path, survivors, not victims. Leora's prison sentence, Gideon and Rune's decade behind bars, they were proof of consequences, not cruelty. The deleted X apology flickered in my mind, but I let it go, her lies irrelevant to the life I'd built. Miles called Dad pancakes, and I joined them, Loyal's tail thumping. Theo's. I'm glad we're here, lingered a testament to our healing. I'd fought for this normalcy trust, a future where my sons could dream without fear. The Rockies loomed outside, their strength a mirror of mine, forged through battles won with precision, not rage. As I cleared the plates, my thoughts settled the Miami skyline, a distant memory. Leora's terrace tears, her clinic gasps, her Art Basel giggle. They'd crumbled under the weight of truth, my case built with Vesper's hacks, Soren's trust, and the FBI's raid. Isolda's yacht pact, Thane's cafe plea. My son's kitchen hugs, they'd carried me through my North Star unwavering. I'd seen through Miami's facades, protected my empire, and walked away free. Loyal bounded to the door, eager for a walk, and I grabbed his leash, Miles and Theo pulling on coats. The snow crunched underfoot, Aspen's peace, wrapping us in a promise of renewal. I was a father first, a deal maker, second my son's laughter, my legacy. Leora, Gideon. Rune. They'd paid their lies no match for the truth I'd wielded my boy's future. Secure our new horizon, boundless. Betrayal cuts deeper than any blade, shattering trust and leaving scars that linger. Yet from the ashes of deceit, a stronger truth emerges. Justice, not vengeance, rebuilds what was broken. This journey through lies and greed revealed that love for family, for integrity, endures beyond the pain. Consequences inevitable, as the tide claim those who gamble with trust, while resilience forges a new path unburdened by past facades. Life's truest empire is not wealth or status, but the bonds we protect, the futures we secure. In the quiet of renewal, where laughter replaces tears, we find peace not in erasing scars, but in wearing them as proof of survival. The road from ruin to redemption is paved with choices to fight, to heal, to rise. What matters is not the fall, but the courage to stand again, guided by love's unwavering light. Thank you for joining this journey. Your thoughts in the comments mean the world, connecting us through shared stories. If this resonated, please subscribe and follow the channel for more tales of triumph. Your support keeps these stories alive. Until next time, keep seeking truth.